G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated Podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Right, so just a quick medication update just to round out the year, because yesterday I had my appointment with my psychiatrist and there's been some changes. So you might remember my medications list this year, and I was able to drop lamotrigine, the mood stabilizer, which is good because I thought it was contributing to my poor short-term memory, and I'm pretty sure that is true. Another thing that's been contributing, I think, to my poor short-term memory is the Lyrica, the pregabalin. So I went from the top max dose of 300 in the morning, 300 in the afternoon. I've now got it down to just 150 at night. That's it. But there can be some pretty nasty withdrawal effects of Lyrica, and I'm not sure if I've been experiencing them because I must admit, today is Christmas, by the way. Merry Christmas, everybody. But the last few days I've been doing the whole sleeping thing in bed again. Not quite the sweats, but still feeling pretty terrible. And the only way I've really been able to fire out of it here on Christmas Day is to have lots of, dare I say it, lots of my ADHD medication, which has also been changes. So we'll get to that in a minute. But the idea is I am trying to drop off some of these medications, and we come to the end of the year and it is still a work in progress as expected, but we're getting there. So what am I actually on? So I'm on clomipramine still, the tricyclic antidepressant, 250 milligrams at night, which is it's actually slightly above the max recommended dose, but you know, what can I say? I do things my way. It is prescribed at 250, by the way. And so the lamotrigine is gone, still on the Seroquel quetiapine, 100 milligrams at night to get to sleep. Although recently, I don't know, I've had more than that, and maybe I've been sleeping more as a result, although I don't feel like my sleep problems where I sleep for like 3 days straight are related to Seroquel that much. I feel like it's an independent thing. But anyway, Seroquel, 100 milligrams, and if I really can't sleep, I'll have 200, which I don't notice that much of a difference. I think that's more of a psychological move over any potential pharmacological improvement. I don't think 100 to 200 for me personally makes that much difference, but in my mind, my cognitive thinker is saying, yes, we've had more, which means better chance of sleep. Let's actually relax now and sleep properly. I don't know, something like that. Clonidine or Catapress, 100 micrograms twice daily, which is good for anxiety. It's also good for attention when it comes to ADHD. There's a bit of research around that. And it's also really good for blood pressure. So someone like me who has high blood pressure but also is on stimulants, clonidine is very much a part of my makeup moving forward, and I can't really see me dropping that. So I think the clonidine, the Catapress, is here to stay because it is quite versatile. Good for anxiety, good for ADHD, potentially, and good for blood pressure. So pretty good for me. Propranolol, which is a beta blocker, another of those blood pressure sort of medication things. So it's really good for the physical sides of anxiety. So the trembling hands, the trembling voice, the sweats, all that sort of stuff, which I get a lot of. And I'm having a little bit of that right now. So the propranolol is there to put a lid on that. And it's also good, again, for blood pressure control. So that's great. But my psychiatrist did say, of all the meds, if I get off Lyrica successfully, so I'm off the Lyrica, pregabalin, I'm off the lamotrigine, he did say that the next one to maybe look to come off is the propranolol, but we'll see. That might end up being a PRN just for those really anxious moments, like before a Black Dog Institute presentation or an episode like this here today, for example, works really well. So propranolol, it's there. It's got a question mark over it, but it's there. There's no real side effects to propranolol or clonidine that I've noticed besides dry mouth, which is difficult, but then the clomipramine is dry mouth as well. The Lyrica does dry mouth. They all do dry mouth. So it's very hard to sort of pin that on one medication and say you're the problem. And that's not the problem. The problem that I'm trying to fix is this whole sleeping in bed thing that I talk about a lot, which has just happened again recently in the lead up to Christmas. Happy days. There'll be an episode about that soon. And also this whole memory thing needs sorting as well. So I think once the Lyrica goes, which I do feel like it dulls me down a little bit, I think things will be looking good. And then most of the medications left are not, there's no sort of addictive quality to them. I suppose there's a physiological, pharmacological dependence, definitely. But is there like this, oh man, I need to have this medication, oh yeah. Is there that sort of rush? Not really, except for the Vyvanse, the stimulant medication. This is what the appointment yesterday was all about. So I have a new script now, a 6-month script for Vyvanse. We decided to stay at 50 milligrams. There's sort of two ways to look at at the scenario that I was going through. Either we needed more of an effect level or more duration of the effect. And I made the decision a couple of days ago that I don't need more of the effect, so I don't need to go back up to 60, 70 milligrams like I used to be on. 50 milligrams is enough. It's not too speedy, I can still concentrate and I'm not just chasing that euphoria, and it's a good level. But now we've introduced some of the short-acting dexamphetamine, 5 milligram tablets. I can have 2 of them a day, and that is all about prolonging the effect. So it's not about making the effect higher. I don't have these dexamphetamine tablets with the Vyvanse. It's when the Vyvanse is starting to wear off. And for me, excuse me, there's that dry mouth. For me, it's usually after around the 4 to 5 hour mark. So then, boom, have a booster, get to 6 or 7, boom, have a booster, get to 8 or 9, something like that. And we've had a good, productive day. It is important, though, that I'm not chasing the euphoria, and I'm not. Last time I was on it, I think I was a bit, but this time the euphoria is coming more organically, and I say that because it's coming from my ability to actually get stuff done. That's where the euphoria is coming. It's not just some substance that's artificially increasing dopamine, all that sort of stuff, although it is a little bit, but that's, there's a purpose to it, and this is within controlled levels. But the real euphoria is coming from being able to actually get stuff done, and that is a great feeling, which reminds me I've got washing on the line I need to go get in a minute, so I'm going to get the headphones on, I'm going to get some Oasis playing, some AC/DC, my faves, here on Christmas Day, get my washing off the line, and be as festive and sociable as I can. But that's the general sort of lowdown. So the tricyclic, antidepressant, clomipramine staying, the Seroquel staying for sleep, propranolol for now is staying for anxiety and those physical features. Clonidine or Catapress is staying because it's got a few different mechanisms in which it works for me. And I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't know. But the introduction of short-term dexamphetamine as a booster to my 50 milligrams of Vyvanse, which is staying. And yeah, I don't know. Is that all the medications I'm on? I can't remember. But yeah, so that's sort of the general gist of things going into the new year, is that slowly but surely, very slowly, but it has to be, especially when you've been on as many medications as me, this process has to be slow and it has to be coordinated and it has to be done properly, or else the results are pretty hard to sort of take. And I've been down that road before with withdrawals from Lyrica and stuff. It's not fun. So let's do this properly. I've got plenty of time. So slowly but surely been chipping down at that dosage, because if I'm left with clomipramine, the tricyclic antidepressant, if I'm left with Seroquel, quetiapine, to help sleep, I've got the clonidine there and I've got the Vyvanse there and the Dexy boosters, that's not a bad sort of way of going about things, I think. For someone who presents like I do, I think that's a pretty good result if we can get there. The propranolol, as I said, question marks over it, but I think I'll continue to use it for my presentations and even these episodes right here, right now. So there you go. But that's the latest. So I saw my psychiatrist. Things were going good overall. Things, don't get me wrong, the last couple of days, as I was saying in a subsequent episode, has been pretty hard leading up to Christmas, and there's a few reasons for that. But as far as my medications go, we're pretty locked in. And the ones that I think are causing me a bit of trouble, and most of that centers around my memory, is the pregabalin, and I am chipping away slowly but surely at that one. So that's great news. So my psychiatrist was really happy. In the end, he said, right, here's a 6-month prescription for your Vyvanse and for your dexamphetamine. If there's any problems within the 6 months, let them know, of course, and we can make an appointment. But at this point, the plan is going pretty well. Chipping away at some of those medications that maybe I don't need and have got side effects that are making it not quite worth it. And also being stable on now the stimulant medication, which is great, which is really good. And I'm really happy that I've come to the conclusion that the effect size is good. So I'm seeing this clearly. This isn't, in the past, maybe my judgments on the effect size and if I need more and more and more and all this sort of stuff was clouded a bit, I think, by the medication itself. But this time it's a lot more controlled. So I'm able to look at the landscape, look at the situation that I'm in, the context that I'm in, and say, no, I am able to do a hell of a lot more on the 50 milligrams without getting that sort of unnatural high. And the euphoria that I'm getting is actually because I'm doing things. How cool is that? We just need it to go a little bit longer. And that's where the dexamphetamine comes in. Because 5 milligrams is not a big dose. So, this isn't something that's going to then send me over the edge and, oh my God, there's all this amphetamine going around. It's not like that. The dosage is pretty low, especially if I have them spaced out, which is the plan, because it's all about elongating that effect, not changing the effect size. All right, well, that'll do. 10 minutes, that'll do for this episode. That's the latest on my medication situation. I will be doing an episode shortly on, I know, I still need to do the latest therapy reflections episode. I know I need to do that. But as I said, as I've alluded to in this episode, the last couple of days, the lead up to Christmas, have been a bit dodgy, and I haven't really been, conscious for a lot of it. So I'm going to have to go through that, explain that to you. You sort of know the story with that one, but I'm just a bit confused where it came from this time. But anyway, the sleeping, a little bit of the sweats, but not too much. So that's coming in next episode, and my therapy reflections is coming as well. I just need to get my head around what happened in therapy, because it was a couple of days ago now and I've had all the sleeping and stuff. I've got to get it back, front of mind, center of attention. But I will, and when I do, I'll tell you all about it. All right, thank you everybody for listening. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you soon here on the Dysregulated Podcast.